How's it going, Burke?
Hey, John, how are you?
Doing awesome.
Good. Good.
Getting hot down there down south?
Just muggy today. Like, we had major rain last night. So today it's just muggy.
Yeah.
But it's hot. So how about up there?
Oh, it's not been bad. Been almost 100, but it feels fine. I've been working outside most days the last few weeks, and it's good. No problem sweating, that's for sure.
Yeah. I went out this morning and did a bunch of yard work, and I was just drenched when I got done, and it was just the humidity more than anything, because the work was enjoyable, but yeah.
Right.
So yeah, where do you live? Which are you right?
Mapleton, Utah.
Okay, right there with Justin and them.
Burke!
Yeah, same little area.
Who dat?
Burke!
Oh, Kai, what's up, brother? How are you?
My brother!
It's been too long.
Burke! I miss you, brother.
Yeah, it's been so long. I'm in.
It's been so long, man. I miss you, man. I miss you, man.
I know. I miss you. I gotta see some people. I need some serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, whatever.
All of that good stuff.
Let's do it. Let's put together a little men's thing for August or something before convention. We can do something somewhere.
We need to have like the guy retreat.
Yeah.
Then let the girls go do this thing they used to do with Kaylee.
Hey!
That's part of what this is about, Burke. What's up, Dave?
Hey, Dave, what's up?
What's up? How we doing?
What's going on?
Everything.
Two rock stars, David Ellis and Burke Rigby. Oh
Whatever.
My God.
I'm just here to learn from the
Great, Kai Nix.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. But that's the reason we're all on this call.
I love you guys.
It's been too long. I got to see John in, was it March we were in Nashville?
Yes. Yeah.
But I haven't seen you other two for flipping year, it seems like, at least.
I know.
Yeah, we're actually just leaving. We've been up at the Diamond Retreat, and it was so cool because they had, this big event. Everybody's there, no masks, everybody's hugging. There was a few kisses, some butt slap. It was like, a real old-fashioned get-together event, and it was awesome. It was really cool. Some of these guys, seriously, we haven't seen for 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
It was really good.
Well, I can't wait till convention to see everybody. So
likewise, we need it. We need the connection.
We need it bad.
So gotta have the. I mean, I don't want to sound like the girls, but you gotta have some bro hugs and some connection.
Bro hugs. So I say we just all get some guys together and go on Burke's boat and just be the fellas. That's what I say.
Yeah, the boat.
Let's just take. You still have the boat, right?
COVID killed the boat.
What?
It just ended up, it was like, how are we going to do this with all the islands shutting down? And so we got in this situation where it's like, if we do this, like the boat was going to show up in October, everything was still just up in the air. So I was like, there's no way we're having a boat sitting in a marina in Florida we can't use or can't go sail somewhere on. So
yeah, that's understandable. That's totally understandable.
It just too much up in the air. So call me a chicken. But
so I froze up. I'm not sure. I'm coming down out of the mountain. I'm not sure if you guys could hear me or not.
You can now.
We can hear you. You're just freezing up a little bit.
So we don't have a ton of guys get on these calls live, but we get this on the YouTube channel once a month, and we get a lot of people that check this out over the period. So I'm glad you guys are here. I'm really excited to do this. So I'll kind of kick it off. Intro. I'm excited to hear some wisdom from both of you gentlemen. Kai will be plugging in with some stuff, and we'll just have fun. So it's kind of cool.
Here for,
Yeah.
I'm flattered to be
I
here.
had some visual stuff. Brother John, kick us off. Let's get us going. Let's start on time.
Let's do it.
I was.
Let me mute real quick. If you guys need to go, just go ahead and unmute whenever you need to. All right, cool. Welcome everybody. So this is our special event of the month, and you guys know that we focus on something specific every month. In Real, we do a couple of things. So because we spell it differently, let me remind you just of what it is. Real is recommit every day you live, R-E-Y-L. So this is about intentionally making a daily choice, a daily recommitment, moving towards that higher purpose, that best version of yourself that we call the real you. So today we have a couple of folks that in my book are absolutely legendary, and I'm excited for you guys to get to know them a little bit better. They're people that I have looked up to for a number of years now, and they've made a big impact in my life, whether they know it or not. Sometimes from a distance, sometimes from a stage. These gentlemen are no strangers to getting on and sharing messages boldly, which is the other part of what this is about. So tonight, we are focusing in these special events. We try to dial into one of our 5 peaks. You know, we cover mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. Tonight, we're on the 5th peak. We're getting into financial. And being the month, we just celebrated freedom, 4th of July. We're actually going to talk a little bit more about freedom for all. Talking about financial freedom, what that means and what that looks like. These gentlemen have some amazing businesses. They've done some pretty awesome things. And kind of the flow for tonight will be a little bit of Q&A, just some ad lib. They have a few things to share as well. And a little bit of a theme of like a past, present, and future. So, right, if things are gravy right now, maybe they weren't always that way. So it'd be fun to kind of explore that a little bit and see maybe what some of those transition periods were like for these gentlemen as we get to know and grow with them and together. So thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time out of your lives just to plug in and join us here in Real. John Bush, myself, Mr. Kai Nix, we kicked this off, this Real Men initiative, this brotherhood, this community that we're building, and it's really in its infancy, guys. This is going to be something we hope that is going to connect brothers nationally, internationally, and it's really, really fun to be engaged in this with some really awesome people. So let me kick it off and just introduce our guests tonight. So we have Mr. Burke Rigby and David Ellis. So both of these gentlemen are phenomenal. They're family men. They're focused. They're financially successful. They're inspiring for all the reasons that one needs to be. They're faith-based men. They're connected to God. I mean, all the beautiful things that you would want in a man. You'd be like, hey, someday I want to be like that guy. Like these guys have it. So listen up. I hope you got something to write with, because I know they're going to say something. I mean, I'm being serious. Like I got stuff. I'm ready to write. I'm ready to learn. These gentlemen are awesome, awesome people. So without any further ado, I'll just kind of let them introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about themselves, their family, and you know what's going on in their life right now. Burke, you want to kick us off?
Sure, I can do that. I'm always just like, I can almost feel myself like flushing, because with those glowing introductions, I'm like, I'm not sure you know who I am. Like, I'm not that good of I'm not a bad person.
Right. I don't think he got that from our wives, just so you know. I think he pulled that out himself.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, man, those are all the things that you guys are, but man, I'm working, trying to be better. And I look at you guys and I think you're there, you know. I look at John and Kai and David and I'm like, those guys are there. I'm still trying to get there and just tagging along. But thanks for having me on, and appreciate it. Love what you're doing. I'm so proud of you guys for like starting this movement. This is what the world needs so much right now. And it takes people who are willing to grind, who are willing to start small and just keep grinding at it and pulling people in and saying, come look at this, and letting it catch fire. And then it's what you're doing is going to be huge, because this world needs a ton of this. This is what the world needs, some masculinity in it. And this is the kind of good-hearted masculinity that it needs. and grateful to be here. I'm father of 4, 1 boy, 3 girls, and the husband of Natalie Rigby, who's really the rock star in our world and the one who makes things happen and who drives me to be as good as I can be and to be better. And so we are almost empty nesters, actually. Our youngest is 19. She just turned 19. So we're close to being empty nesters, which is crazy. So I have to tell my kids this all the time. Like, I've been your age, you've never been mine. So I feel like I've been through the battle in this life. I've raised kids. They're out of the house. They're doing well, thanks to their mother and her guidance. But I'm just grateful. And the longer I go on, I think the more grateful I am. And the more that's for the friendships and the camaraderie and the good things in life. It's not for the stuff. I don't care about the stuff. But so that's kind of me in a nutshell. I'll be 50 in a year, but I don't know what else you want to know.
Awesome. That's it. What are some hobbies, interests? What keeps you busy day to day?
So I love mountain biking. I love CrossFit. Those are almost daily activities for me. And then I love to do anything my kids want to do. Love to hunt with my son. My girls keep me busy doing a lot of things I probably would never do if they didn't want me to do them. Whether that's
good dad right there. Yeah.
Concerts or whatever. But right now I've been keeping myself busy just doing a remodel on a property we bought a few hours away. That it's kind of like sorry about these light spots that keep getting in, but just kind of building us a little second place to be and go and get out of the hassle and have our own quiet time in a little town. So I've been remodeling. I love to work with my hands. I love to see things, take something old and make it fresh and new. But I do love the saying, use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without. So I love to take the old and use it and make the best of it. But
love it. Awesome. Glad to have you here.
Thanks.
Dave, you're up, man. Let's hear about you, man.
Glad to have brother Burke here. He's doTERRA's very own John Cena. So, we have our very own John Cena.
Without the
That's
money,
right.
Without the money or the muscles, but yeah.
You have all the muscles, brother. You have.
Yeah, you got no lack for money either. You're doing just fine.
I don't know. I'm not complaining. I'm very grateful. So.
That's right. So, I guess what's really interesting, Burke and I are similar ages, but on opposite spectrums when it comes to kids. So he obviously figured things out a lot sooner in life than I did. I just turned 45 and my oldest is 14. I got 6 kids. Youngest is 3. And I'm still changing diapers. So it's a little different spectrum there, but I echo what Burke said in that what this is absolutely necessary in our world today. I mean, to show that there is a place for good, wholesome family masculinity, and that it should be revered and it should be taught how to be a man. I love that. I didn't know what that stood for, the real part. That is awesome. And I'll tell you right now, it is so true, because it's in anything you do, whether it's doTERRA, which, a lot of us are associated there, or in any aspect of your life. It's a process of recommitting every day to whatever it is you're going to do, right? Whether it's a goal that you're going to achieve or something that you're going to stop. Because sometimes that's as important as the goal we achieve is something is a bad habit we're going to stop. It's recommitting every day to your own success. because at the end of the day, and I love that Darren Hardy is a guy I follow, and really I love the way he puts stuff together and his simplicity. And one thing he said is, he says, you are exactly where you've chosen to be. It's personal responsibility. And the bottom line, true masculinity is personal responsibility for where you are and where you want to be. Where you've been, it's past. Where you are, where you want to be. Learn from the past, live in the present, and look forward to the future, and make it whatever you want, because you literally choose. We choose exactly what our future is going to be. So yeah, I grew up, I'm from Idaho, grew up on a cattle ranch up in the middle of nowhere. I'm one of those guys that, I mean, if you would have pulled me out of I would graduate with 12 other people in my class. If you'd looked at me back, I mean, I was there. I didn't come from wealth. I didn't come from a lot of great success, but I came from a father and a mother who understood personal responsibility, accountability, and how to work and how to make things happen. And I attribute my success to them and my good wife, who chose doTERRA, and pushes me every day to just be better, to be a better man. And like Burke, I get to show up to a lot of feminine things because I have 4 daughters as well. I got 2 boys and 4 daughters, and all those things round you out to become the best version of who you can be. So I'm one of those. I'm like Burke. I'm better with questions, man. Anything you want to know, I can tell you. But off the top of my head, that's about all I know.
Sweet. I love it. Hopefully you guys are feeling their energy and their wisdom, and there's some common themes that are coming through there already. You guys are going to start to unpack a little bit more and really understand. But I'm getting this sense of like both confidence, but a knowing. But I know it's because these guys have gone through the fire. Like, you don't get that without some stories, you know. So I'm hoping we can uncover a little bit of that and just kind of explore and have some fun on some chats here. But I would love to know, first off, as we kick things off, Burke, tell us a little bit about your past, just work life, like work history. What have you done? Where have you been?
Sweet. So I grew up, sounds like me and David are like peas in a pod. I grew up on a little farm, and I just worked. You worked every day. Grew up next door to my grandparents, and I had amazing parents who instilled in me work. I mean, it was you did not let grandpa down, right? So it was hauling hay, and that's how I grew up. And then, graduated, went to school, got my bachelor's. I started early 20s. I've always had this entrepreneurial spirit that I don't like being told what to do. I'm not really good at working for people because I don't know what it is. I'm pretty confident I can do things on my own. And so I started a couple little businesses. I had an oil express lube shop for a while, and then I had a fence installation company. And then one day out digging post holes, I was like, I'm done. I am not fighting dirt the rest of my life. There's better things to learn from than dirt. So I went back to school, fell in love with the technical sales program at the school I was at, graduated with a degree in technical sales, and then was working at the Caterpillar dealer at that time, and where my dad was working, he got me that job, but I was in the parts department, just working graveyards. When I graduated, they had an opening pop up, which was really rare because they were kind of coveted jobs. And I got it. I got this sales job in Southern Utah. So I moved down to Southern Utah and just killed it. I mean, had so much fun and so much success. I loved it. I was working for Caterpillar, which is like the best of the best, right? Like, you show up at a client's door and the John Deere, the Volvo guy's sitting there, and you're like, dude, it's over for you. You should just leave now because the king is here. The king is here. You're done. You're embarrassed. Just leave. And I loved it. I just loved it. But I got to the point where I was like, I can do more. So I left there in 2006, 2007 to go start my own engineering and excavation company with a couple of partners. And that was a horrible choice in timing, because 2007, 8, the bottom fell out, especially in construction. And so we were left hanging with all this equipment, millions of dollars in equipment, not any work to do, and stressed. I mean, talk about stress. So here comes doTERRA for my wife, a network marketing company. And I would have never entertained it because I had such bad connotations about network marketing. But we were desperate. Things were not good. And so she started off on that, and I supported it kind of from the background, but I was still scrambling, trying to make a buck. And we ended up having to rent out our house, move into my in-laws' basement, which was, honestly, it was humiliating. It was the worst time of my life. And I struggled because I had always been a good provider, and I worked hard, and it was hard. It was we were almost 40 years old, and I'm living in my in-laws' basement.
And so how many kids at this time? What are some of the details?
4. We had all 4. We had my daughter sleeping in a closet that we converted to a bedroom, and it was tough times. It was humbling for sure. And then along came this doTERRA, and it just kept growing. And that eventually became our sole focus, and what we continue to do to this day. But I'll tell you what I learned from that. One of the big lessons I learned is there's great ways to earn a living in this world, and even more so today. But you don't have to go do the traditional brick and mortar, big financing loans for equipment and stores and all employees. All this stuff is just not necessary to have a successful career these days. And so, just last year we paid off the final debt on all those tractor loans that we had. So it hurt. It took a long time, but thankfully we've been able to do it. Yeah. We wouldn't have been able to do it any other way. And so that's kind of my work history. Always kind of been out in the dirt guy, I guess.
Love it. Love it.
I got a question for you, Burke. So at what point, while the wife was doing doTERRA, you decided to jump in and take off?
So we started doTERRA in 2009 and had a pretty good shot out of the gate, did really, really good. Natalie did a lot of good really quick, and then it plateaued for a while, and we went through a lot of these struggles. Kind of, I think they humbled us, but they kind of squashed my energy, right? And there was a negative vibe in life, and it kind of plateaued us for a couple of years there. And then in 2013, we finally got kicked it in gear, got to a point, hit some ranks and things that allowed me to go full time with her in that. So since 2013, I've been full time with Natalie in that. So I've gone from like the biggest, baddest equipment in the world to like little bottles full of flower oils. So if I could transition to that,
our dignity, yeah.
So.
I love it, man. I love it. Dave, how about you? What's a little bit of your background and your history? Give us a peek into the past, aside from the cattle ranch.
So I grew up in a little town called Cary. It's in the middle of nowhere, Idaho. My dad managed a cattle ranch for a guy out of Texas, and he made $1,000 a month. Got a half a beer, and all of his housing paid for, basically. And he never asked for a dime more. He just always assumed, well, he'll give me a raise or he'll do whatever. He never asked for any more. And we had 9 kids. There was 9 kids in my family. Camp trip, because there was no room in the inn, if you know what I mean. My sister, yeah, and you would say it's poverty. I didn't feel that way because my parents never had like this.
Hey, Dave, you're cutting in and out, and you're saying such good stuff that everybody needs to hear. So maybe you can find a spot where you have a good connection, because right now you're frozen. So until Dave gets a better connection and comes back to us, Sean, why don't you share your story until David comes back to us?
Yeah. So my journey is similar to Burke and working, right? Father that spent 40 years, factory worker, HVAC technician, doing a lot of things, just working with his hands. So hard work was easy for me to see and emulate. And I thought that that's just what you did. I thought you just go to work and that's, you really don't have anything more. So when people talked in high school about college and different things, I was like, suckers. I was like, I'm just going to go get a job. I already know what I'm doing. Like, I'm just going to go straight to work. They're going to
okay. Can you guys hear me?
Come out in debt. Oh, Dave's back.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Now we can.
Yeah.
You're muted, Kai.
Okay. I apologize. We're headed up to the Goddards, and for any of you guys never been up there, it's a drive up into the mountains, and there's service in and out. So hopefully we'll get here soon, and I'll be in a good spot. But I'm not sure exactly where I lost you guys, but can you hear me now?
We can, yeah, go for it.
Okay, all right. So basically, what I was saying is, I grew up in a very and pretty needy situation, right? Like I said, I lived out in a trailer next to the house that my parents got given to me because there was 9 kids and there just wasn't room. I remember going to a basketball game, and I'd asked my dad, because I knew my parents didn't have money, and my dad got $20 from my mom to go for the month for his spending money. And I asked him for some money one time as we were going to a basketball game, and he gave me $5. And I remember after the basketball game, it was an away game, and it was a long ways away, and it was late, and we all stopped to go get something to eat. And I remember going in and feeling this, like, if I spend this, like, my parents didn't have it to spend. And so I went into the bathroom. I took some paper towels. I stuffed it in a bag that I asked the clerk for, and I walked out onto the bus so that my be embarrassed that I didn't that I didn't have money. Coaches ask, are you okay? Do you need something? Because I didn't want that to happen. And what's interesting is what that taught me was a principle. But I learned the value, obviously, of money. I learned the value of work. I learned the value of those things, so that as I went on, I went into school. I got a degree in finance. I started my first job was a financial advisor, where I was up in Boise, and I was basically putting together financial plans for people. And then the market crashed, and when the market crashed, the insurance company that I was with, the parent company, went out of business. And my agency manager at that point was looking for another parent company. There was 6 to 8 months where I couldn't write any business, and I needed income. So I went around and I went to all the people that I knew that had a little bit of money, and I just told them, I said, hey, I'm buying some real estate, some income properties, because they're on sale right now because of the market. Enough was doing, but I knew I was calling to go make something happen. And so what I did is I bought up these income properties and I started to basically build a portfolio of rental properties. And then my brother, who was a builder, time obviously not building any houses because the market had crashed. And so I pulled him in and I said, hey, I'll go find the properties and I'll find the money and you do the work, go rehab it, and we'll put it out. I'll go get a real estate license. We'll put it out on the market and we'll split the difference. So we partnered on that and we were doing that. And that's basically what we were doing when my wife also found doTERRA, and she started to build doTERRA. She did it for about 1.5 years on her own. I just supported her. I watched the kids and made a lot of dinner and made sure that she felt like she could go and everything was fine. And she did, and she worked really hard, and she started to build this business that was creating a residual income. And I saw what that was. I saw what it could do. And at that point, for me to throw some effort in there, because she had another little baby. It was our fourth, and she was exhausted and she needed some help. So I jumped in and started helping and started to kind of take over some of the things that she'd been doing while she, was recovering from that. And we ended up deciding that we were gonna move down to Texas. And so I pulled my brother in and I told him, I said, listen, I gave him half of everything. At that point, we had about 85 rental properties. And so just to help you understand, like I have been a big believer in residual income, which creates financial freedom. And that was the direction that I was going with that. And that's just a testament to how powerful doTERRA was, because I could see that doTERRA was an even better opportunity for us at the time. And so I pulled my brother in as a full partner, gave him half of everything that we'd made up or accumulated at that point, which, like I said, was about 85 units. I gave him half of them with the agreement that he runs the day-to-day stuff. I still worked with the investors, and I still, was involved with kind of putting some deals together here and there, and then kind of turning them over to him, and then he would do the work part of it. And that was working really well, and allowed us to go out and for me to be able to dive in and do doTERRA on a real full-time basis. And that's where basically my wife and I were until we moved up to Montana, and I started getting a little bit more involved in the stuff because of some of the stuff that would happen. COVID hit, and the really cool part of it is that I had the ability to kind of shift gears a little bit. We couldn't really meet with anybody, couldn't travel, couldn't do nothing. And so I put a lot of focus into the real estate side. Like, Burke's saying, we're as men, I believe wholeheartedly that we are just wired different, right? It goes back to the old caveman days of we go out, we hunt it, we kill it, we bring it back, we provide, and there's just something in us that just wants to be active and be pursuing and be engaged in something productive. And so I jumped into that, and I've been doing that on pretty much a full-time basis at this point, and have just with the principles that I learned as I built a doTERRA team and applied that over, threw a little gas on the real estate business that had just been sitting there kind of dormant, and now is absolutely exploding. And it's just another testament to financial freedom and creating multiple streams of income. For many of you, your wife might be involved in doTERRA, you might be involved in doTERRA, you both might be there. The concept of multiple streams of income to create financial freedom is an absolute hands down must, because you just never know in life what's going to happen, where your passions are going to be. Markets change, everything changes, and as you develop skills, the skills translate over to anything. Skills and true principles of success transfer into whatever you do, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you do one thing, whatever it is, you do it well, you do it to the very best of your abilities, you're going to be that way. It's a little where I've been financially, we're in a place now. It's, we don't have Rich and Branson money. We don't have John Seeley money. We don't have that. But we have. I like Burke. I have nothing but gratitude, because money is just simply an object. It's a tool. It magnifies who you are. And if you are so wrapped up in the money, you will never have enough, because there's always somebody that has more, right? There's always somebody that can't be what it's all about. I'm not saying it's not important, because it is certainly important, and it allows us to do a lot of the things that we're able to do now and have the freedoms that we're able to have. But I will tell you, it cannot be the only driving force in your life. Because to be honest, my driving force comes from freedom. My number one principle is freedom. I'll work 18 hours a day. Just let me choose which 18. I'm like John. I'm to the point where I'm unemployable. There's no way I could ever go have somebody tell me what to do, when to do it, and what they're going to pay me, because there's nobody that can pay me my value of what I believe I can go out and create. And what I'm here to tell you is that everybody is the same. It's whatever you believe. There's a really cool thing. It's been passed around. I've heard several times, and many of you probably heard this, is the idea of what you think about becomes what you expect, right? If you think here, then your expectations are here, and you have this expectation of this, and if that's what you expect, that's what you're going to create. If you expect to go out and get a job and work for somebody and be able to just provide for your family and have your Saturdays off to go spend with your family, and that's where you're at, and that's where you're happy, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. It is what it is, right? But your thoughts create your expectations. Your expectations create, right, what reality is, which becomes your life. The only thing I add to that, and I heard this, it wasn't from me, it's from a book that I recently read, and it says, but people stop at that, and they think, oh, I just need to control my thoughts. Well, where do your thoughts come from? Right? Because we're talking about, John and I grew up very similar. We grew up without money, and we had a desire for more. But where are your thoughts? Your thoughts are created from your inputs. Whatever you're inputting in is what creates the thoughts that now work through that whole process. Your thoughts create your expectations, which create your reality, which create life. You guys, I cannot tell you, can't stress enough the importance of the inputs that you're putting in your brain. This type of thing here, what these guys are put together, plugging into this type of thing to education, personal development. If you're religious, to your creator, which grounds you and creates humility and gratitude and all these principles that are principles of success that will translate over into anything that you do. As a father, it makes you a better father. As a husband, it makes you a better husband. As a friend, as a brother, as an employee, as a business owner, it's principles. True principles translate. So it's what you put in, the inputs that you put into your head that create the thoughts that you have, which turn into your expectations, which create your reality, which inevitably is your life. And if you don't like it, it's what you've chosen. So change your inputs.
Wow. That was incredible. That's the thing I love about Dave, man. Like, he drops so many nuggets. Just to hear him speak is magical. I've been to the Goddard's, and it does get a little choppy as you go up that hill to that house. So yeah. We caught about 90% of the magic. We missed about 10% of the magic also, because you kept going in and out. But we caught a lot of it. And we so appreciate you for all of it. He's frozen right now. As David holds that thought, so incredible. Burke, you're basically just to transition into you, Burke, on that same line. What does it really mean to you, Burke, financial freedom? What does time freedom really mean to you? And what has it done in your life? And what has it allowed you to do and continue to do in your life with your family?
Well, I'm still hung up waiting for John to tell me the rest of his story about
We're
him
going
going.
to get back to John. We're going to get back to John.
We'll get there. Guys heard it.
I mean, I don't know how, if there was a perfect language to describe how much I love financial freedom, everyone would join us, everyone, because you could make it so clear and describe it so well that people would be knocking down our door to join us, right? If they knew what we know, they'd be knocking down the door, and we can't speak a perfect enough language to help them understand, unfortunately. So we're stuck with this mortal body and language to try and convince people. But I think there's a few things that are important to me. It's financial freedom. It's so time freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment. Those are the three F's, right? And the freedom, I want financial freedom. I want flexibility in how I achieve that, how I structure that success. Like David was saying, there's no way I can go I'm unemployable. Hands down, there's no way I can go work for somebody right now. I want to control my life. And then I want fulfillment out of that. Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. If you're just rich, if that's the bar you've got to cross to be successful, you failed. You can be rich. And I tell Natalie this all the time. I want the most life out of my dollars, not the most dollars out of life. I want to live. And some people may look at things we do and be like, well, that's financially stupid. I don't care. I am not going into the grave saying my bank account's huge, but I spent every minute focused on that account. I want to walk across Spain like we did for 6 weeks. I want to go sail the world at some point. I want to slide in at the end of life. I want to slide into heaven all beaten up and bruised and broken, and my joints just like worn out from working out and being alive and experiencing. That's what I want. And so freedom to me is to get to go do those things. Like, it makes me cringe when I hear someone say, I got to check with my boss and see if I can get that time off. It makes me cringe when I'm talking to friends who, you're having a conversation about doing something big in life, and they're nodding their head, but in the back of their mind, they're saying, there's no way I can come. There's no way I can participate. I don't have that kind of flexibility in my life. It's sad to me to see that. And so the freedom is, I can't put into words what it means. If I could, people would be joining us left and right. But when you've lived it, you can't do without it. It's part of our divinity. Like, we want to be free to choose our own path, and that might mean suffering the consequences for those choices, but we want to be free to do it. And we're living in a world where some of that feels like it's going away. And if you're like me, it just hurts you to the core. Like, this is why we need good people to gather and remind ourselves what we're about and what is most important to us.
Wow, powerful.
I love that. And we have 5 peaks in Rio, right? And I know we're talking about financial stuff tonight, but we have 3 A's that we focus on. This is let me interject these really quick, because this is really what this is about as well. So guys that are watching this, and as you go back and hear these messages, some of the themes that I'm grabbing is like, Both of these gentlemen have grit. Both of them have gratitude. These guys have been through some amazing, what most people describe, hard to get out of, circumstances. They didn't have a really powerful launch pad. But the 3 A's is, first, you're working to increase your awareness. So that no matter where you're at right now, if you want to get to a better spot, you have to know what needs to change. You have to increase your awareness. Second A is accountability, which is why we're here. You need somebody to help you stay accountable, and that's going to call you on it. So we're not real friends. We're not real associates. We're not real acquaintances. We're real men. We're real brothers, because a brother is going to call you on it. A brother is going to say, yo, you're being an idiot right now. You're not treating your woman right. You're not showing up for your family right. Like, a brother's going to call you on it. So the accountability piece is critical. And the third A is action, because nothing else matters if you don't get moving and put it into work, put the work in, right? What needs to happen. So, man, I appreciate you both. And I've got notes all over the page from both of you. And I loved it. But yeah, if we're cool, I'd love to share a little bit about my journey and kind of what brought me to where I'm at. So, similar story in the vein that, I had a very hardworking father that taught me that, right? And I often wondered why in my life, a lot of my friends were knuckleheads and got into some different things through high school and college years and stuff. And I always kind of went in a different path. And I always wondered why that was. The path wasn't always easier, but it was just different, right? It was just whatever. So fortunately, I met my wife, we were 15. And I just thought I was going to do what my dad did, just work for forever. So I did get into college after school, and refused to compromise something that I hold really, really dear, which was my integrity. The school that I got into was run very similar to a military organization, and you weren't allowed to be married, weren't allowed to have children. So my wife and I, we are actually 19 at the time, and find out I'm expecting a child. Like, hey, baby's on the way. We got married 3 months pregnant. Like, there was a lot going on there for me to have the opportunity to man up really quick. I had to withdraw a full ride scholarship. It was worth over $50,000 a year to one of the top trade schools in the country. Because for me, there wasn't a question there. There was not a question, because going forward, I actually only had 3 months left to graduate. Like, and even some of my teachers were like, you can do it. Baby won't be here yet. You'll be good. Like, I said, no, I can't do it. There's too many things. I had this question of integrity. I'm going to get married. I'm going to marry my girlfriend at the time, right? Going to get married, going to have a family, and I got to go start working and providing. So I'm at the school learning landscaping, horticulture, and all the things. And I go start doing whatever I know. I'm like, I try to hustle and get jobs, work with a landscaping company, get hired onto a golf course. I'm doing my thing there. I'm working 25, 30 something days a month, making 30 grand a year, thinking we're doing awesome, wondering why there's no money at the end of the month. And we got 2 babies now. Young newlywed couple living underneath my parents, in my in-laws' basement, and thinking, man, this is what it's about, right? So I'm going to ride this out for the rest of my life and just work. Had an opportunity to double my salary, cut my work days in half, and get to an oil refinery. And I was there for 6 years. 12-hour swing shift is no joke. A really, really, really hard time. If you've ever done swing shift or know somebody that does, it's rough. Day work one week, night work the next. And I had an opportunity to see what these old timers were telling me. You're good, man. Just ride it out. You'll make 80, 90, whatever. If you want to get into management, you'll make 100 plus, and you can take good care of your family. But I had zero of anything of what these guys are talking about. I had no freedom, flexibility. There was no, I was a low man on the totem pole. Somebody else controlled my schedule, my hours. When I got forced in on my days off, like they called it a force in. Yeah, they paid you, but they forced me to come to work on my day. I'm like, it's my day off. And they didn't care if it was day work, night work. And I had a very, very monumental moment in my life that I hope most people don't need, but I guess I needed one this big in order to change course and get the confidence to do this. But I had a night that I didn't think I was going to live through. There was a huge explosion at the refinery, 13 fire trucks, crazy, crazy scenario. And I didn't think I was going to make it. Nobody at the refinery knew. There was a lot of explosive materials and chemicals and jet fuel and all kinds of other terrible things. Any one of those could have blown up, and it would have been the end of at least that area. But the unit that this was on had a 7-mile blast radius, this specific chemical, and it would have leveled the whole town. So fortunately, we lived through that night, but I left my wife a phone call, voicemail that night, because it was in the middle of the night on a night shift, not knowing if I would make it home. And I made a decision that night that I would push through and persevere and grow into whatever I needed to continue to show up in the world, to figure it out. Like just to plead with God, be like, hey, we're going to partner in this and I'm going to be here for you. You bring me through this, I'll figure out whatever I need to. So doTERRA found us. That refinery shut down a few years later following that explosion. And for us, doTERRA found us when I was laid off, trying to start my financial career, struggling in every way you could. And it's been nothing short of a miracle. And we've had our roller coaster rides. I feel like everybody does. And it's been just a godsend in so many different ways. I didn't know about residual income. I didn't even know that was an option. So Dave, I'm glad you learned about that way earlier in life. But at 36, I feel like I'm still learning new things every day. But part of this journey is hanging out with cool people so that we can collaborate and grow and everything else. And that's the other cool thing about what we do here is there's guys at all different levels and walks of life. There's people that are in transition right now. They're like, man, I want to get a little bit closer to where they are and a little bit farther from where I'm at. So we've got this set up to where, guys jump in, and we've got some mentors in this group that have kind of been through some things and have the grit and the confidence to be like, hey, here's a couple of steps that you could take and here's what it could look like. It's having that conversation. And then obviously you've got to make that move. You have to have that courage to take those steps and then insert faith and the other things that we work through to continue to grow and develop. But it's powerful to just be here, to show up. It's great to hear your guys' stories, and I'm appreciative just to know both of you. So thank you guys for being here.
Awesome. We love your story, brother, for sure. And before we let these two powerful men go, we have a question that came in for both of you. So both of you can end with this question. Let's start off with David first. So Dave, we always talk about the why. Our why is forever changing. At this stage of the game in your life and in your business, what's your why? What's your personal mission statement? What keeps you doing what you're doing at this stage? You're on mute, brother.
Yeah, I love that because, dude, John, just mic drop, man. What you just said was so powerful, and I would add one thing to it, and it's in answer to that question too. When you're talking about, and this is kind of a plug for this. I didn't even know this existed, but I'm certainly glad I got an invitation, because the reality is, like what you just talked about, John. It's the people you surround yourself, right? You surround yourself with people that have a higher expectation, kind of what I was talking about earlier. Whatever your expectation is what you're going to create. If you want to create more, you got to raise your expectation. You get around people that have a higher expectation, and you will expect more out of yourself, out of your life, out of everything, because you see the fruits, right? You can't hang around Burke and Kai and not have a desire to eat better and to work out and to be more fit, right? Because you're around that, and it just raises that level. And so the whole concept of putting yourself in places that raise your expectation, and you come back to my why. That is my why. My why. I'm driven every day by becoming a better version of myself. And it's not a comparison. It's the biggest difference, right? It's not a comparison. I'm comparing myself. Like I want to be like Kai because you got such an amazing personality. I mean, one text and he gets both of us on here, and I don't know what Burke dropped to get here, but I dropped a meeting with the Goddards because Kai asked me to. I mean, that's just presence, right? It's presence, and it's being around people that have that presence. And I don't compare. I'm never going to be Kai, right? I'm never going to be Kai. But there's things about Kai Nix, and now John. I love your story, and I've been able to speak behind Burke before, which is incredibly intimidating. But out of each one of you, I gain something that elevates me to be better. And my why is that I hope that I can be that for somebody that they can see something in what I do by showing up every day and being the very best that I can. I'm the oldest boy of 9 kids, and I've had siblings that have looked up to me my whole life. And so there's a part of that that kind of comes from that place of wanting to make sure that I am being what they can aspire to be. And we are all, right? We're all here on this earth. My belief, we're all children of the same God. And he loves every one of us. And we have a responsibility to reach out and to help each other to become the very best version of ourselves, which is the reason we're here. We're here on this planet to have an experience, to learn, to grow. It's evidenced by the only thing we take with us when we leave. The only thing we take is our experiences, our knowledge, and what we become. It's not our money. It's what we become. And so my why every day is to get up and to try and be something that first and foremost my God would be proud of, my wife would be proud of, my children would be proud of, and those that I associate with can be inspired by. And at this point, that's why I get up, and that's why I get up and I go. And I love CrossFit too, by the way. I just don't have the same results as you guys, but I love the fact that I've been given opportunities to succeed, and that I've been blessed, and it's just truly a blessing. I've been blessed with the opportunities to take advantage of those that have put me in places to be financially free, because I will tell you, you can be happy without money. You can also be happy with money. It's just a richer experience.
Wow.
Because all money is a magnifier of who you are.
Wow. Wow. Powerful, brother. I love you, man. I love you so much. And that's a powerful why, because my eyes got teary while you were saying that. I actually got teary in the eyes. So that's such a powerful why. Brother Burke, talk to us, man.
I love you guys. I love being on this call because it is just so uplifting and fulfilling. Like, this is what I've missed so much over the past year. And I sit here and I look at you guys, I'm like, you know, the only people you're going to get on here, like, we're all self-made, right? Everyone on the face of this earth is self-made, but only the successful will admit it. So I love everyone you're going to get on these calls is going to be someone who is willing to admit that they're self-made. And if this is your first time you're watching one of these, you can't walk away and say, I'm never getting on one of those again, because you're feeling, just listening to you guys, I'm like, oh, I got to be on this call all the time, paying attention. I've got to catch these videos. But my why, so it is always changing and on some level, but my overall why, I could say exactly what David said. I mean, I want to get to the end goal. And it's a line upon line, precept upon precept. We're not perfect. You know, we don't know everything that we think we know when we're 20 or 19, and we grow and we learn. And I want to keep gathering information and becoming better and better. But ever since 2008, when things were the worst they've been for us, I've kind of lived by this: in times of peace, prepare for war. And I always want to be the person that can help and not have to be helped. And my why is to be ready for whatever is coming and to be prepared. And a couple of years ago, we had a good friend, doTERRA guy, pass away, he was not in shape, and I loved him to death, but he wasn't in shape. And that same year I had my grandpa pass away at 97, who just was healthy as a horse and then gone. And I started thinking, which life do I want to live? Like, which life am I willing to accept? Because the friend that was out of shape, he was gone at 50, right? And so my why right now, a lot of it has been be prepared and be strong enough long enough. Like, I don't want to live a life of dependency on someone taking care of me if I can help it. Sometimes it's inevitable, but I want to be able to help my kids and my wife to the end of my days, and to not be a burden, whether that is health-wise or financially. I want to be ready. And so we're living in times of peace right now. We feel like, there's a lot of prosperity. We're all doing well, but we're all smart enough to know, we've seen the cycle. We know history. At least financially, things aren't always going to be this way for everybody. So I'm just really, I want to be healthy. I want to be well. I want to be prepared. And right now that's a big why for me, is in times of peace, prepare for war.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome, brother. Love you too. And I just want to personally thank both of you guys. Thank you, Dave, for jumping on the call. I know you're at the Goddards right now, but thank you for sharing your wisdom, your gifts, your magic all the time. You're always dropping so many diamonds on everybody. So thank you for that. Burke, you know how we get down. You're the best, brother. And, I love you for taking the time to jump on this call and let other men hear what you guys have to say, because it's always so powerful. So with that being said, John, once you end us, let everybody know what the real experience is about, and end us out.
Real. Yeah. It has been amazing. I've loved listening. I've loved note taking. Let me leave you guys with a quick call to action for.
And real quickly, before you go that, I have Fred on the call. Thank you, Fred, for being a part of this call, listening in, and I hope you got some nuggets from these two incredible men. So end us out, John.
Let me give you this, I guess it's a call to action. It's also a challenge. So we'll put one of those little slashes on it. If you were inspired by something that was said or something else, I would challenge you guys to do two things financially. If you're working to get to a better spot, do something that's going to up-level your mindset. Do something else that's going to up-level or move you closer right to that financial goal, and make that commitment to yourself. Like by the end of this month, you've got something dialed in that's going to put you in a different financial trajectory. Maybe short term, maybe longer term, don't really care, but make that commitment to yourself and just see what happens. Just be willing to give something a try. So thank you both for being on here. The real experience, what do we have going on, guys? The big vision for this is that we are connected together in person somewhere in the not too far future at a cabin, doing some awesome manly stuff, having a real men retreat. Like that's the big vision for this. What we do in the meantime is we keep showing up. When we can't be together in person, we keep showing up. We keep recommitting every single day. We do masterminds. Once a quarter, we deep dive into one of the peaks. We're currently just starting our spiritual peak mastermind. We're in week 2. So every Tuesday night, we've got a Zoom call led by some different mentors, and we're diving a little bit deeper into each of the 5 focus areas that we have for our spiritual peak. Our last one was inspiration. We've got one coming up on devotion. We've got some awesome things in the works. We actually have this month the privilege to hear from the author of The Rewired Brain, Dr. Ski Chilton, which is a really cool book. He's a psychologist, a really cool book, faith-based, and then also talking about thought, subconscious, all that great stuff. So really powerful. He's going to be speaking to us live July 27th, which is a Tuesday night. So tons of great stuff coming up. Next month in August, what we did tonight, we aim to do every month, the 3rd Thursday, we have our special event for real. This is always free, it's open, and anybody can join. And what this is just a different focus area on a peak. Next month, we're going to be kicking it off and getting more into fitness and talking a little bit more about the physical peak and why Kai and I were kind of rapping on this a little bit, why it's more of a lifestyle, right? And it can't be a fad or anything else, right? Why that matters. So that's going to be amazing. That will come up on the 3rd Thursday in August. And if you guys are ready to jump in and need mentoring and ready to connect up, then go to realmen.com and check it out. It's $5 a month or $47 for the year. And you're going to get a whole host of videos to start with. You're going to see some other amazing mentors in there right away, helping you out and moving you through exactly how to navigate everything I just said. You'll get like a nice welcome outline of everything there so you can make sense of all the details and really understand how to best leverage this and be tied in with these other men. and let us help you stay accountable to whatever it is that you're working on that brings out the best version of yourself. So thank you, man. Thank you, Kai, for helping to moderate. Appreciate everybody for being on.
Thanks, you guys. That was awesome. You guys are amazing. So
That was awesome. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen.
have a good night.
Thanks for the invitation.